Alright chaps and chapesses, gather around because I've been having a proper good look into Atomfall for you again to bring you a definitive beginner's guide. This brand new survival action game plunges you into the mysteries of an alternative reality in Britain, a land now fraught with threatening patrolling robots, mysterious creatures and shady outlaws, all amidst the eerie silence of atomic batteries. We're a brand new channel, so if you like what you hear and see today, please subscribe for more gaming videos. Right, once you step out of your initial bunker, the entire world of Atomfall stretches before you, ripe for exploration. The very core of Atomfall is built upon investigation and survival. Fear not, however, we at Silver Arrow are here with the beginner's guide to equip you with the essential knowledge needed to thrive in this unforgiving landscape. The journey ahead may not be a walk in the park, particularly at the early stages, but with these crucial tips you'll be ready to face whatever comes your way. Head to Wyndham village first. When starting your journey, you might be scratching your head wondering where to go and what to do. While the game may not point you towards the interchange as a pivotal location that would unlock new leads, our strong recommendation is to make a beeline straight for Wyndham village. You'll find this hub of activity nestled in the northern edges of the first map you find yourself in. Wyndham village is teeming with key characters, intriguing locations and a multitude of leads to pursue. Explore every nook and cranny. Seriously, leave no stone unturned in Atomfall. The game generously rewards thorough exploration in a multitude of ways. When you're not stumbling upon valuable loot, essential ammo or crucial crafting resources, you'll be discovering new weapons, helpful recipes and much more. Beyond the practicalities, there are collectibles to unearth such as comics and breakable statues, quirky non-player characters or traders to encounter, fascinating secrets and backstories to uncover, and numerous intriguing locations and points of interest to discover. Follow your curiosity and explore Atomfall's world as thoroughly as possible is always a wise move. Every lead matters. Forget what you think you know about quests and side quests because Atomfall convincingly blurs the lines between them to the point where the distinction is practically non-existent. You'll find yourself picking up leads constantly and you'll never quite predict which one will ultimately prove to be important. That seemingly disconnected fetch quest you picked up earlier could very well blossom into something far more involved and elaborate than you initially imagined. Furthermore, leads often have a way of converging and diverging, meaning you'll frequently find yourself unexpectedly looping back to the main thread. Our advice therefore is to give equal importance to all leads and instead make your decisions on what to prioritize based on your own curiosity or your current ability to accomplish specific tasks. Talk to everyone. Atomfall employs a lead-driven system that truly shines through your interactions with characters. By engaging in conversation, characters may divulge rumours of different locations and provide valuable leads through specific dialogue choices. For instance, in a Wyndham village, you might encounter Alf Bookshaw, the owner of the Grindle's Head pub. Depending on the choices you make in the conversation with him, he may even ask you to collect some letters out in the Skipton region. One of these letters will be from someone named Nora, and while simply collecting the letters and returning them to Alf is an option, Nora herself may provide you with some useful intel on the entrance to the interchange if you have the right leads in progress. She may even offer a tip for a location of a crucial item to aid you in your journey. Remember, other characters you meet can also offer valuable information about the interchange and its whereabouts. It's best to interact with as many characters as possible to help determine your best path forward. Ultimately, it's your decision whether the information you gather is worth pursuing or if it will lead you down a dead end. Supplies are scarce. Scavenge diligently. Always be on the lookout for scavenging opportunities as you travel the vast perilous landscape of Atomfall. Crafting supplies are scattered across the world, often hidden within the remnants of civilization. These resources are the very lifeblood of your survival, enabling you to create essential items and tools that could very well mean the difference between life and death. For example, cloth used for making bandages and Molotov cocktails can often be found in most buildings in the forms of piles of rags and toilet paper. If you're looking to make an explosive impression on your enemies, you'll need gunpowder, which can be found in places like workshops and bunkers to craft various types of grenades. Keep an eye out for purple herbs commonly found around Slatandale, as they're essential for creating different potions and tonics and can grant you resistances to various damage types, including fire, radiation, poison, and even physical damage. Save your bullets. Atomfall incorporates survival elements into its core design, which means going in all guns blazing is rarely a wise approach in a firefight. In fact, where possible, you should actively try to avoid combat altogether. Ammunition isn't exactly plentiful in Atomfall's world, so make sure you prioritize other methods of dealing with your foes wherever you can, whether it's through stealth, making effective use of melee weapons, or simply giving enemies a wide berth. Plan your loadout carefully. While avoiding combat is generally the best strategy in Atomfall, you will inevitably find yourself in situations where fighting is the only viable option. This is precisely why having your loadout ready to go is so important. Atomfall imposes a limit on your inventory space, restricting the number of weapons and melee items you can carry at any one time. This necessitates knowing your preferred combat style and planning your kit accordingly, especially if you anticipate heading into a potentially dangerous situation. Set your shortcuts. This might seem straightforward, but it's absolutely crucial. Opening your inventory does not pause the action in Atomfall. Yes, it's one of those games, which means swapping between weapons and items in the heat of combat is much easier said than done. Thankfully, each button on the D-pad serves as a shortcut, so make sure you always have your most useful weapons and items assigned. Think of having a bow ready for stealthy engagements, a shotgun for close-up and personal brutal encounters, or even a flashlight for the abundant dark and dimly lit environments and locations you'll frequently find yourself in. Keep eating food. Atomfall's survival elements, while considered fairly basic and straightforward overall, will punish you if you become too reckless. You'll lose health quite easily, particularly on high difficulty settings, which means it's best to keep a close eye on your health bar at all times. There's a decent amount of food and health consumables scattered throughout the world, so unless you're hoarding them, you should be consuming them there and then if you're feeling even slightly low on health. Keep an eye on status effects. This might seem obvious, but it's certainly worth mentioning. Atomfall will frequently hit you with various status conditions, each bringing its own set of pitfalls and disadvantages. These disadvantages are often quite severe, so it's always best to deal with status conditions as a priority. For example, if you start bleeding, you'll lose health with surprising rapidity, making it imperative to apply bandages as quickly as possible to stem the flow and restore some health. Manage your heartbeat. Managing your heartbeat, which is essentially stamina under a different name, is absolutely crucial in Atomfall. Pretty much all physical actions such as sprinting and all melee attacks will raise your heartbeat. The higher your heartbeat climbs, the less physically capable you become. When your heartbeat reaches its peak, your vision will start dimming rapidly, your movement will become impaired, and your actions will be more sluggish and significantly less effective. So the golden rules are: don't spam melee attacks, don't sprint endlessly, and make good use of items that help keep your heart rate low, such as tea. Make smart use of your kicks. Speaking of melee attacks, make sure you're not overlooking the ability to kick enemies whenever you want. Not only is this rather satisfying to deliver a swift kick to an oncoming foe's knee, but it can also be a surprisingly effective tactic for creating some much needed space for yourself. This gives you the opportunity to reload your weapon, swap items, use a consumable, or simply manage a rushing crowd of enemies. Don't ignore traders. Across Atomfall's multiple maps, you'll encounter several traders, and each one is well worth paying regular and consistent attention to. For starters, traders are often an excellent way to get your hands on essential food, valuable crafting materials, much needed ammunition, or even new weapons and useful recipes. On top of that, each trader boasts a unique stock of goods, and what they have for sale can even change over time. This means it's always a good idea to check in with the trader every time you happen to cross their path, as they'll usually have something useful in the store that can be bartered for. So be sure you're not bartering away anything too useful for yourself, as figuring out a trade that leaves both parties feeling satisfied is a skill in its own right. Trading operates on a bartering system. You select the items you desire and you offer your own items in exchange. Keep an eye on the sliding scale on the top of the screen. Once the scales are even or your side holds a higher value, the bar will turn green and you can accept the trade. Remember, each trader has different items they may value more than others. indicated by a triangle on the item you're offering. Yellow triangles signify items at higher value to the particular trader, while red triangles indicate items they value lower than normal. For instance, you might find that Molly the Tinker values Molotov cocktails more highly than bandages. While you might be tempted to simply eliminate traders and take their goods, it's often far more beneficial in the long run to keep them alive as they refresh their inventories over time, offering new valuable items. Patience in trading can often yield a far greater reward than quick, violent solutions. Don't immediately spend your skill points. Progression mechanics in Atomfall are fairly simple and straightforward. It's not trying to be a complex RPG. However, that doesn't mean you should approach spending skills without any thought. Skills aren't found in abundance, and the skills you can unlock can often be quite expensive. As tempting as it might be to spend skill points as soon as you acquire them, our strong recommendation is to hold on to them until you can unlock something that will be generally useful to you and your preferred playstyle. Skill points are often obtained through training stimulants, which can be found within bunkers or bee chests. Picking up these stimulants automatically grants you skill points, which can be then distributed as you see fit. Ultimately, how you develop your character and how you want to be perceived in the world is up to you. However, to get you started, we can offer a few recommendations. For general survivability, conditioning increases your maximum health, allowing you to stay in the fight for a little longer. For those who plan to engage in trading, survival charisma makes your items more valuable to traders, making it easier to barter for the items you desire. If you favour range combat, consider throwing radius. This increases the area of effect for throwables like Molotovs, making them significantly more deadly against large groups of enemies. For melee-focused players, kill momentum is an excellent early game skill, providing a damage boost after you successfully take down an enemy with a melee attack, increasingly helpful for when you're not so well equipped. There are initially 12 different skills you can unlock, with the potential to discover an additional 2 through various manuals throughout your journey. Venture into the bunker, be prepared. While exploring, you may stumble upon the bunkers of the British Atomic Research Division. Be warned, you may encounter various dangers while exploring them. However, the rewards they yield are often well worth the risk. You'll find crafting supplies and healing items in great abundance within bunkers compared to the outside world. Crucially, you can also discover valuable bee chests that contain training stimulants for those precious skill points, and sometimes even more clues as to what's unfolding within the quarantine zone. Seek out a metal detector. Earlier on in your adventure, we highly recommend seeking out a metal detector. This handy piece of kit can uncover hidden caches of supplies or even clues that delve deeper into the mysteries within the quarantine zone. One reliable spot to find a metal detector is in Slat Andale, near the water wheels in a pond. Alternatively, you may be able to barter for one with Molly the Tinker. Stealth is your friend, mostly. Early in the game, when the firepower and supplies are limited, you often encounter large groups of enemies. In these situations, it's usually best to avoid direct confrontation. Utilize the environment to your advantage by hiding in tall grass or finding alternative routes to bypass them entirely. Sometimes the smartest strategy is simply knowing when to fight and when to slip away unnoticed. While stealth isn't always a viable option, as you progress and become better equipped, you can strategically take on several enemies at once. These groups can be valuable sources of ammo, weapons, food and crafting supplies, but only if you approach them strategically. Utilizing tall grass for cover and landing precious headshots can give you the upper hand in these encounters. Silent and precision kills can confuse the remaining enemies, leaving them unaware of your exact location and buying you precious time to stay hidden or strike again. However, if confrontation becomes unavoidable, you might try to intimidate melee characters by aiming your weapon at them. Some might back off, but others may stand their ground, forcing you to act. Patience and precision are your best friend in these encounters until it's time to go loud. When several enemies are clustered together, consider throwing grenades or Molotov cocktails into the middle of them for maximum impact. This can either eliminate them entirely or scatter them, allowing you to pick them off one by one. With these tips in hand, you should be well placed to face whatever challenges the intriguing and often bizarre world of Atomfall throws your way. Whether you find yourself deep within the eerie Castle Fell woods, strolling perhaps cautiously through Wyndham village, or facing several insurmountable odds, you now have a solid foundation to escape from harsh surroundings and become a savvy survivor. Anyway, as I mentioned earlier, this is a brand new channel, so if you liked the video, please like and subscribe. See you next time.